I've already kind of hinted on the idea that conceptually, if we're a bit slow, we lose opportunities. But clearly, performance isn't the only reason why we might lose opportunities. So let's widen the discussion out just a little bit more and talk about lost opportunities. Firstly, let's kind of define what we mean by a lost opportunity. We're in the business of providing product availability to online searches. So roughly speaking, any time that we don't respond in a sort of favorable, positive manner to a request, it's likely it's an opportunity that we have simply let go, and we really should have perhaps embraced with both hands. So there are clearly a number of factors which are going to generate lost opportunities, if you like, for us. It's something we clearly are trying to avoid at all costs. So let's try and understand some of these factors. Performance and response times, we've already talked about that. Availability, that's clearly another big issue. I'm sure in practical terms, you've probably already built, or if you haven't, you should have, a sort of resilient systems, deployed a level of systems monitoring, and you probably use some level of external agent-based monitoring. So I'm thinking of things like sort of Site Confidence, Gomez, Keynote, those sorts of providers, who use simulated traffic to sort of test the availability of your site. What I would say about those particular exercises is that tests the connection from them to you. That isn't the connection to your clients, and there's clearly network segments that are, as a result, untested. So any problems in those segments, they can still impact your business, and you can still have network problems. Database problems, they can occur at any time, and it's likely that everything else looks like it's functioning, except unfortunately the data that you're sending back to in response to requests could be of low value, garbage in, garbage out type thing. We need to watch that. A biggie is software changes, either at either end of the connection, so either your clients or indeed your own server. We've seen changes in server software that have caused dramatic increases in traffic because things are being transmitted multiple times, caching somehow got impacted, etc., etc. And these can almost initially slip under the radar but cause significant business issues. Clients themselves say that they're always making software changes, and that can, in the worst case, you can see some huge changes in request volumes. We had an incident the other week where suddenly a client was generating approximately 12 million hits in a day. At that sort of level, that's kind of like next best thing to a denial of service attack. So that's killing all the business from that client. And if you're trying to distribute stuff or a supplier in this supply chain, that's hammering all of your response times going out to all your other clients. And you've probably got to turn those guys off till they get it resolved. There are other simpler things like lack of inventory. As I say, we'll probably focus more on the business intelligence side of things in the next webinar, but clearly let's put it on the list here. If you don't have the products or indeed the services that the people are asking for, you don't have them in stock kind of thing, or they aren't available for the dates in question, that's really an obviously missed opportunity. Or you may simply, because you don't have enough information about how the loading of your service, what the pattern looks like, large increases in traffic volumes, could potentially trip you up because you simply weren't able to get enough idea of how to plan for that. So again, these are things we really need to worry about. Here's a couple of charts which I'm going to show you here, just to give you some real live examples of how things can sort of manifest themselves. This one here is actually reflecting errors and aborts at the TCP/IP level. Often this sort of problem can go undetected because, particularly if we're relying on averages and we haven't really broken things down, then this simply disappear under the radar, as it were. This particular chart shows you a breakdown of in this case, this blue thing is aborts, so this is premature closure of connections by either the server or the client. Now, if this was a live demo, we could probably dig in and find out which end was doing the closing, but we can clearly see that one server is suffering from an awful lot of aborts, and it looks like it really does have some sort of issue. But overall, the service looks like it's probably running fine. Another example, this time we've kind of moved up the protocol stack as it were a little bit. And this time we're looking at the XML level, so we're looking at return codes inside the XML data. Now to get to that, you need to do a extraction of those values, what we call the XML KPI extraction. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. But by doing that, we can get a very clear view of what's going on in terms of the quality of information that we're responding with. And again, we've broken this down by server, which gives us a clear view that one of these servers, the .66 in the middle, clearly is generating quite a lot of XML level errors, even though the rest of the systems look like they're probably running okay. So again, devil is in the detail, and understanding how to drill in, if you like, is part of the challenge here.